What's going on, everybody? We back on Living Life on Light Terms with your boy Counselor T. Um, doing a solo today, but I wanted to talk about something that I pretty much do every day when I go to the meetings or whatever the case is. We pull up the just for the day. So the just for the day says October 27th, 2025. Living in the present. We want to look out back. We want to look our past in the face, see it for what it really was, and release it so we can live today. Basic text, page 29. For many of us, the past is like a bad dream. Our dreams aren't the same anymore, but we still have fleeting, highly charged emotional memories of a really uncomfortable past. The guilt, fear, and anger that once dominated us may spill into our new life, complicating our efforts to change and grow. The 12 steps are the formula that help us learn to put the past in its place. Through the fourth and fifth steps, we become aware that our old behavior didn't work. We ask a higher power to relieve us of our shortcomings in the sixth and seventh steps. And we begin to be relieved of the guilt and fear that plagued us for so many years in the eighth and ninth step. By making amends, we demonstrate to others, we demonstrate to others that our lives are changing. We are no longer controlled by the past. Once the past loses its control over us, we are free to find new ways to live, ways that reflect who we truly are, just for the day. I don't have to be controlled by my past. I will live this new day as a new person I am. I speak on that because a lot of people don't understand how, Narcotics Anonymous works. Um, a lot of people think that, oh, it's just drugs. I'm just going away with drugs. But if you listen to a lot of older people who got a lot of time and a lot of people who actually do steps and things of that nature, they'll tell you that drugs is just a symptom of that problem. Most of them will start their meeting or their speaking off by saying drugs wasn't the problem. I was the problem. I had issues way before drugs came up. So that's what the steps is for. The steps is to help guide you through to break it down. Now, I did this because I always tell people that Narcotics Anonymous, you don't have to just be an ad. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is to make you, it's to make you a better person as well. And when you break down the steps and you actually go over, you can apply them to your life as a regular person. This is just a simplified way for people who struggle with addiction, turn to, drugs and alcohol to, you know, uh, take away the pain, the pressure, the world, all of those things or whatever. So in this reading, just for the day, it states the 12 steps are the formula that help us learn to put the past in its place through fourth and fifth steps. So the fourth step says we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. The fifth step says we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrong. So I'm only on step one. So I'm gonna give you the best of my ability to explain in my words and how I see it, what this means. So the formula helps us to learn to put the past in its place. So step four, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So that's the shit when you start digging into yourself, like shit that you have issues with. I like to steal. I like to womanize. I like to sleep with many women to, make myself feel good or whatever the case is. And then you start doing an inventory on who you are. Like, why is it that when I walk in Walmart, I gotta steal? Or why is it that when a person says something to me, I gotta stand there and I gotta fucking like, have words back and forth with them. You know what I mean? But those are the things in your self inventory that you can dive into and look at and say, damn, maybe I should take that out. Maybe I should remove that and replace it with this. So, that's why it says the formula that helps us learn to put the past in its place. So that way that can help you to look back at all the shit that you've been doing wrong and the way that you've been living wrong. You can be able to, with a new way of life, you can be able to search and find that shit that's hidden in you that you may not be able to explain, or it may be just something that you hold on to in today's world out of pettiness or whatever the case is. But it says also, through the fourth and fifth steps, we became aware of our old behavior. So we admitted to God, to ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. That's step 5. So when you admit, right, that's for Narcotics Anonymous is when you have like your sponsor or whatever the case is, or somebody you're close to, or even if you're going to a meeting. When you admit to God, to yourself, and to another human being the exact nature of your wrongs, that's where I can't stop being an asshole at Thanksgiving. You know, I can't stop when I drink. I like to fight and cuss people the fuck out. I can't stop when I see, a person that I don't like. I gotta start some shit or argue with. So that's where you're admitting to you, but mainly to yourself, because you gotta be able to tell yourself, like, shit, I was wrong. You ever, okay, I give you a scenario. You ever been in a situation where like, shit, I was wrong. I should have done. That's basically what that is. You're admitting, but you're getting a little more deeper into things that you don't see that's on the surface. Like it's things that's deep within you that you would have to search and find to say, damn, that's some real fucked up shit. You know what I mean? But once you know, you know. That's what they all tell you in these rooms, man. We ask the high power to relieve us of our shortcomings in the 6th and 7th step. So the 6th step states, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7th step says we humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. So, and we begin to relieve of the guilt and fear that plagued us for so many years. So that's where you at on the 6th and 7th step. So the 6th step tells you you were entirely ready to have God remove all of these effects of character. That's other people can see it, but you have to be the one to see it. You have to be the one to admit. How many people allow pride to get in their way, right? You know, why is it that you always have this attitude, or why is it that you always this snobby, nasty person? Others can see it, right? But it's for you to see, because it's for you to get on your knees and ask God to remove, I mean, to remove the defects of character. And you have to be able to know that for yourself. You have to be able to admit that to yourself, because others can't, ask for, the forgiveness, or others can't ask the high power of God to do something for you. I mean, you can pray, you can ask, but until you truly see what needs to be on your knees praying for and ask so that he can remove that, it is only then that you'll be able to start following a new way of life. Because now you're looking at your old habitual ways, and you're like, shit, I did that, I did that, I did. For me, for instance, why is it that I felt as though I always had to carry a gun? And Kevin Gates said this before. You gotta carry your pistol somewhere, and you don't need to be there. But of course, money changes a lot of things. Some of us still have to be in the hood, but we don't have to participate. You know what I mean? If that Chinese spot that you go to and you beefing, you should be in there. You get what I'm saying? But those are the things that, you would have to ask God to remove, which is a defective character, meaning your pride, meaning you always got to be right, meaning you're unteachable, meaning nobody can teach you shit. Those are just surface levels, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these are things that's in people, all of these are in people. that needs work on themselves that haven't worked on themselves. And drugs not even fucking part of this shit. This is just normal motherfuckers here. Is character wise fuck. Because that's what it's all about. It's about helping you build a new way of life. It's about helping you to understand how to see the world on a more peaceful, clear, healthy level that, you can be able to become one and become whole with yourself because you've done fucking work on yourself. So, and we begin to relieve of the guilt and fear that plagued us for so many years in the 8th and 9th steps. Here we go. So that 8th step is one of my favorites. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Number 9, we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or hurt them. This is a good one. I'm gonna tell you why. So the just for the day says in the 8th and 9th steps, by making amends, we demonstrate to others that our lives are changing. We are no longer controlled by the motherfucking past. Listen here. When you go to make a list, right? And when I get there, it's gonna be thirsty. But when we go to make a list, right? And it's for regular people, this for addicts, it's for fuck heaven. Make a list of all of those that you had harmed and you had hurt. Now, I'm gonna double back to the Thanksgiving thing, right? How many of us have been to a Christmas dinner on Thanksgiving and turned sour because, oh, I don't like uncle, I don't like auntie, I don't like that cousin bitch. And yo, listen, I see it, and I'm pretty sure other families like that, where Aunt Sharon or Aunt Teresa or Uncle Timothy or Uncle Jim, and we had these secret, not secret, but we had these animosity intentions with each other that is plaguing us and it's harming us inside because we're not able to let that go. So that shit is living rent free in us. Like, dang, fuck it, I ain't never letting it go. You know what I mean? It's just that anger, that rage, that part of, that hatred that, I'm just so, mad and angry. But when you really dive into it, you got to look at the people that you're harming, right? Let's say, for instance, me going back and forth with jail. I was harming my mother. I was harming my sisters. I was harming my family. You know what I mean? Let's talk about where, if you're dating or dealing with someone and you're sleeping with someone behind their back. You know what I mean? That's the shit right there where it's just like, what the fuck? You know it's wrong, but at some point you have to be able to be mature and grown and adult enough to um be willing to make amends, man. Because from what I've heard in a lot of cases with that amends stuff, like some people, man, will cuss you out when you try to, come back or slam doors in your face. I mean, that's just don't speak to you for over 12, 13 years. That's just shit that I've heard from people's stories and how they share. But check this out. We made a direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. So it's like, you gotta be careful with that, man, because you can try to do something and talk to somebody and make amends with them, and that shit can make them hurt themselves. Or that shit can make them hurt somebody else because it might be something that they, can't sit with, and they not able to hear it or they're not able to address it. So it's like, and they're not in the NA way, you would have a sponsor and they would, pretty much guide you through it. They would pretty much tell you like, no, that's not a good idea right now. Do this in small doses, or you know what a case is, because you try to go make amends, like I said, with somebody, and you tell them something that hurt them. It could be something from, hey, I gave you something, that's some real nitty gritty shit that motherfuckers would lose their mind or whatever the case is. You gotta go and make up and tell them that. But it's not for you to truly harm them or hurt them. It's really for you to be able to let it go. It could be a person that died that you never made amends to. That's where they tell you, write it on a piece of paper, and get it out that way. And, hopefully, it reaches somehow. But the whole step work, man, is really something that I really dove into more because it's like, it really, so a lot of people know right from wrong. A lot of people know what they should do. But when you have a roadmap or a GPS or a guideline to help break down every single thing, because it's for complicated people. It's for people with pride. It's for people that don't want to learn. It's for people that think they know it all. It's for people that think they got all the motherfucking answers. It's for people that think that they are God's true chosen ones to be able to give the information to somebody, and that information could be wrong. And, you know what I mean? So it's like, this helps you in particular to break it down one by one. So on step one, what I am, it says we admitted that we are powerless over our addiction, that our lives have become unmanageable. Listen, I'm gonna tell a quick story, man. I used to go numb nuts about my son and with my baby. She would keep him from me. It was back and forth in court. The judges was acting real fucking different. So much shit that was like going on where I could fight, I couldn't handle it no more. It was something that I could do, and it was hard, man. I used to get fucked up drinking, doing everything that I can to numb it, because I wanted to control how she was doing things. I wanted to control how the narrative was. And a lot of that was lack of money. I was pissed off about that. Shit, if I had money, I'd be able to find me a good lawyer and take her from. But what would happen if all of that would have happened, right? And something else in my life would have been hard or devastating. And I don't know how to go about it. You know what I mean? So this is where, this basic text come into play when, when you start thinking about revert back to your old ways that got you or got you in the shit that you into. You know what I mean? That's why we see a lot of people go to jail and, they do 10, 15, 20 and shit, some doing 30, 40 years. They go in there, they start reading books, they start putting information in them, and they start finding their guidelines in there because everything has slowed down. The world is slowed down. It's not too much chaos going on. Some people need that. You know what I mean? That's why you have people go away, go to rehab, and go to recovery houses just to let things like, fuck it, I cannot hold on no more. Let the bumper go. That's one of my guys, Frank, man, tells me in the meeting every Sunday, man, the predecessor. He say, man, just let it go. Let the bumper go. It's no use to holding on, bouncing around, just throwing you all around. Just let the shit go. Because what's going to be is going to be regardless. So why would you want to destroy the present or stress so much in the present when what's going to fucking be is it's going to be all that worrying and I don't know what this is going to be like. Cause with me, with anxiety, that's how that shit used to attack me. Shit, how is this going to be? It's going to be crowded in me. I might be scared to get up and get something to eat. And, man, since I came here and I started following this way, man, I've been taking a drink, a year and a month. My anxiety has been a lot better. I'm good around crowds now. And I'm no longer like in a sense of nervous because of step one helped me by telling me that I'm powerless. I can't control it. Only thing that I can control and worry about is my actions. And one of those actions is, are you going to go take a drink because you're stressed out or you're nervous? Or are you going to go through it and use the tools that's provided for you to be able to overcome, things of anxiety and sadness and anger, and, all of those natures because shit, I don't know about you, but me, when people died and I'm stressed out like that, I started drinking fish, taking everything that I could put in me, pills, whatever, and that kind of would let me on the track, man. But that's that whole part of it's a me problem, right? It's a TR problem. And Tion was a people pleaser. Tion is a person that always wants to get along and make sure everybody is pleased and happy. Tion was a person that always wanted everybody to like him. You know, Tion was always a person that wanted to be accepted by everyone. But I had to come to realize that I'm powerless. I cannot control you, things, and places. That is out of my control. The best that I can do is use the tools that are provided to me to be able to navigate through. And by that, my life became unmanageable when I was people pleasing and they wanting to be liked by everybody and all those things. My life became manageable because I wanted to put my hand in shit, grab the wheel and do it my way, and I ended up crashing. I just suggest everybody, take those in terms of basically how I broke everything down. Um, like I said, I'm on step one, so the person can break it down a lot more better for you who actually worked all the steps. But um, man, basically all I'm saying, man, just work on trying to become a better person. And this is a great way of doing it. Some people go to church, some people find God, whatever it is that helps you to maintain, help you. But I found a way that's more simple for me in a way that I can actually look at the things that I was doing right in all of these steps, but I wasn't really writing it down and applying it. And this shows me the way to do it. So if you woke up today, be thankful. If you don't have a job, be thankful you food stamps about to be cut off and all that shit. You're powerless over that. Just let go of the bump. What's going to happen is going to happen. Please don't freak out. Please don't stall your. Please don't get depressed and start turning to drugs and alcohol and thinking that. And then you got those that, well, I'm gonna just drink a little bit today and I'm gonna drink a little bit tomorrow. You gotta be careful because you can fall into that cycle, man, and that shit can become sickening. And I don't want to see nobody go through that. But I hope that everybody, can take heed on a little bit of what I touched on about that. And just for today, life on life terms, counseling T.